everyone. So today I want to talk a little bit about one of the books that I just finished reading and I really thoroughly enjoyed. I think I gave it a 4.5 stars on Goodreads, and that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This book has been very hyped lately. I feel like I've seen it everywhere. I look at a lot of fan art pages and stuff on Tumblr, and a lot of the artists that I really like draw stuff from this book. I have a story about that I'll get into a little bit later. So this book, if you don't know anything about it, is about a man named Linus who lives alone. He's 40. He has a cat who doesn't really like him. He goes to this orphanage that's highly classified. It has 6 really dangerous kids, and it is run by the housemaster Arthur. So Linus has to go there and evaluate it to make sure it's up to standards and everything. And while he's there, the more time he spends there, the more time he connects to the kids and starts going closer to Arthur, who also has this really big secret of his own. This book I thought was a really great blend of contemporary, of magic, of fantasy, and it was a really great coming-of-age story despite the fact that the two main characters were both in their 40s. I will say something about this book that I really loved was I loved every single character. I thought all of the characters, the entire ensemble was great. There were 9 main characters total. We had Arthur, Linus, the 6 kids, and then we had Zoe, someone else who just kind of lives on the island that is more of an aunt to the kids than anything else. So despite the fact that I loved all the characters, I will say that out of all the kids, my favorite 3 were Lucy, Chauncey, and Sal. I know that Lucy was technically the Antichrist, which, by the way, let me just say I did not appreciate that because my name was Lucy too, so it was weird to read that. But he was so sweet, and just overall I loved watching his story. Same with Sal. I loved kind of watching him break out of his shell a little bit. And then of course we have Chauncey, who just wants to be a bellhopper, and he just wants to have a job in a hotel, which was just the cutest thing, because every single time he would come across Linus, he would be like, alright, can I do your laundry? Can I put your bags away? I also really liked the other ones, Thalia, Fee, and Theodore. They were all great too, but I just have to admit that the other 3 were my absolute favorite. Arthur and Linus were also great because as Linus got closer and closer to the kids, he really felt definitely less of an investigator and more of a parent, a teacher to the kids. And then of course we have Arthur, who I just immediately from the start viewed him as a father. So when Linus flat out said you're a father to these children, it just was everything that I had been thinking. So he was such a great balance of a teacher and a father, and Linus being there too, it really just towards the end of the book made it seem like they were more parents to these kids than anything else. I really love how this book kind of delves into that found family trope. It also really hit close to home because this book is about kids with differences, and I want to be a teacher, specifically work with special ed students, so it was really great to see that in a book. And going off of that, I really loved the underlying themes of if you're different or if you look different in any way, then the world automatically fears you as something that's awful and dangerous. But in reality, as we learn in this book, all 6 of these kids are just so sweet, and they're not dangerous whatsoever. Even Lucy, who's the Antichrist, he's not that dangerous. This book really deals with nature versus nurture. So it was really great to see all of that in a book and really see that topic tackled, which I feel you don't see a lot in YA. And this book is considered YA, which I thought was really interesting because despite the fact that the 2 characters are in their 40s, the book is considered YA, and it really is. There's nothing new adult about this book. I wish that more YA books had characters who were actually over 18 in them, because as we've seen from this book, you can have YA books where the characters are not teenagers, and that's always been my problem with YAs. Despite the fact that I love it so much, all of the characters are always in their teens, so it was really great to see the 2 main characters in this book actually be not teenagers and be in their 40s, because you see that 40-year-olds also still have a lot of growing. They have a lot of things that they have to change about themselves. This was also just such a great finding yourself book. There was just that running theme the whole time. Linus is stuck at this job that he doesn't like, with this cat that kind of likes him but doesn't really, just no one else to talk to except for the co-workers that he kind of despises and his cat. So when he's sent to this island, it's just really great because all of a sudden he's thrust into this world where he's just able to connect with all of these people. You can tell by the time he leaves the island, just how much he doesn't belong in that world anymore. He belongs in the world with the islands. And he also belongs with Arthur. I absolutely love the romance in this book. I thought the romance was really great. It was like a slow burn, but not a book that just focuses solely on the romance. So it doesn't feel like you're just excruciatingly waiting for them to get together, because like there's very subtle signs of it the whole time. Like in my mind, I kind of already viewed them as together by the time we got to like where they actually got together, because they were essentially raising 6 kids by the end of the book. So they were already a couple like midway through the book. But it was really great because you weren't solely focusing on that. There was so much other stuff that you were focusing on. The kids, the world, the society that they were all living in, and like how they were viewed in the world. And you know, you're focusing on all these other themes that the romance really just takes a back seat, but that's okay, and it's great for this book, because if the romance was front and center, I don't think I would have loved that, because again, this book is also about the kids. The kids are just as main as Arthur and Linus. I will say I really did not like Extremely Upper Management that much. I thought the whole time that they were going to end up being evil, and in the end they weren't even really evil. I think they were just really like authoritarian and just like really set in stone in their ways more than anything else. And you know, one of my favorite quotes in this book was when they were talking about change, and they were like, change starts with a few voices, and Extremely Upper Management, they're never going to change, right? They're very set in their ways. So Linus is like the complete opposite of that, in that he thinks that change is possible and that change can be started, whereas Extremely Upper Management doesn't. So it's not that they were evil, it's just that they were the pillar that never falls. They were the people that are never going to change. This book is all about change and like seeing people in like new lights, and you know, not judging someone based on the way they look, because all of these kids, they don't look like normal kids, which is why so many people fear them. Despite the fact that I really, really loved this book and I gave it 5 stars, I will say that the beginning portion was definitely a little bit slow, but it really picked up towards the middle, and it really was just overall such a great story, which is why I had to give it 5 stars. So one last thing that I want to touch on is just a fun, like, quick little story time when I was reading this book. So the entire time I kept wondering like what Arthur's secret was, because you know, that's a big mystery in this book, is like, what is Arthur's secret? So turns out he's a phoenix, and I did not expect that whatsoever, because like I knew he probably has some sort of magical element to it, but being a phoenix was like way out of there, and I never thought that was actually going to be what it was. So a day before I got to that part in the book, I was going through a fan art page, this Tumblr page, Vkelley art, who I really love, and she's done a lot of really great fan art for the Carry On series and a lot of other series, and she's done a couple for this book, but not a ton, so I figured it was probably safe to go through it. So I was scrolling through the page, and then I reloaded the page because like something wasn't loading or whatever. So when I reloaded the page, the most recent thing that was just posted, which had to have been posted like a minute ago, was the scene where Linus finds out that Arthur is a phoenix. So, a day before finding that out, a day before reading that in the book, I saw that in a drawing and got it spoiled for myself. And of course I don't blame the artist whatsoever. Like, I don't even really blame myself. This was completely coincidental, and I did not mean to see that, but it was really funny because looking back on it, it's like, wow, if I had just waited like one more day to start going through her page, or, you know, waited one more day to look at fan art, which I wasn't even meaning to look at fan art for this series, I was just scrolling through her page in general like I do, then I wouldn't have found that. And it's really funny because, yeah, but it's fine. It didn't spoil much for me. Like, I had already suspected that he was magical anyway, so it was really just like what he was that was spoiled, but still, I thought that was a little bit funny. Overall, I really, really loved this book, and I highly recommend this book to anyone who loves like contemporary and loves a little bit of romance, but not a lot, and magical elements, and like finding yourself. That's all really packed in this book. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching the spoilery section of this video, and please tell me what you thought of this book. I would love to know your thoughts. I thought this book was really great, and it's definitely my favorite read so far in 2022. Not that there's really many yet, but so far it's one of my favorites. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.